a special edition of Community Update. I'm Andre Evans, the show that brings you above and beyond the scope. And today, our special guest, we're going to be talking about PMOSH, which, for those of you who don't know, PMOSH is people involved in motivating our students higher. The goal is to educate students with academic challenges. And today, Ms. Patrina Reddick is going to be telling you all about that.
Yes.
Welcome. Thank you for being here on such short notice.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I want to first thank you for a good job that you guys are doing, educating these students from all walks of life. Mm-hmm. And, it takes a special person with special skills to be able to do something like that. And it also brings me to my first question, just the concept alone. How did you even come up with PMOSH?
Well, to be honest, PMOSH came out of my breast cancer experience. I was not sure whether I would live or die, and some of our luxuries went away. So, for example, my daughter struggled in math, but my son was a math genius, and I was somewhere in the middle, but a very good math student.
Okay.
I wouldn't call myself an excellent one, though.
Okay.
But my daughter struggled, and I didn't understand, and as a parent, I tend to make it worse. And so when she started to cry over homework assignments and I started to yell, I knew that I had to do something different. So I went looking for a tutor and found one that was very, very expensive. But at the time, I could afford that. And when I got the breast cancer, some of our luxuries started to dwindle away. And that was one of them, absolutely one of the first ones to go away. But just because we got rid of the tutor did not necessarily mean we got rid of the struggling student in my house. So we had to find a way to sort of fill the gap that was missing, even though we couldn't do it with that particular tutor. So my son, in his genius, comes to me and says, well, I can tutor her. You can pay me such and such and such. And I thought to myself, well, really? I have to pay you?
Yeah.
He said, well, you paid that other girl.
Yeah.
And I taught him to be that way. So in my heart, I wasn't sure whether I would be here or not. So I just wanted to keep him near me. And so I had him run and get a pad and a pencil. And we brainstormed everything we could think of, from who should tutor, where should we get referrals, what if something went wrong, how about insurance, what if we had funding, could parents afford it, what was a good price point, could he bring other young people on board.
How long did it take you to establish? Well, you were established in 2003, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And we started a strict tutorial. Two times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay.
That was it. And we did enrichment activities on Friday.
Okay.
So because we are tutor mentors, we do academic mentoring, but we do it in such a way that we want to make sure that whatever a child is naturally interested in, that we give them as much opportunity to pursue those opportunities as possible. So, for example, say one of my tutors is working with your son or daughter, and they say, well, I would just love to be an astronaut. I would just love to be an astronaut. So what we would do is design a curriculum around that thought. And on Fridays, your child would be able to go to different events and activities that would give them a eye view of how an astronaut would live his life as an adult. So in Connecticut, we have the Connecticut Science Museum. So we would make sure that they got there. But not only would we want them to go to the museum, we want them to actually talk to people who work there. So we end up doing all kinds of things like that for the summer. So our students that are enrolled in summer tutorial and enrichment program, those students are still Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday they do excursions.
Wow. It's really good. Sounds impressive. Now, I guess obviously the goal is to get that implemented in the greater Boston school system. And my question is, what will it take to do something like that?
Well, the first step.
I mean, I understand you have to go before the Board of Education, sit down and, have all your facts and figures, they always say, and have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, the same way we do it everywhere else. Our goal, our overarching goal is to make learning simple and fun.
Okay.
So for students of all ages.
Okay.
So we have kindergarten through 12th grade, then we have some college students, and then we have some older students who are going back into the classroom that need support. And so I believe that PMOSH, and again, that acronym stands for People Involved in Motivating Our Students Higher. That acronym helps us to understand how to operationalize something like
I noticed
this.
you don't put no limits on that. You said educate our students higher.
Right.
So there's no limit to that.
No
I
limit
like
to
that,
learning.
'cause
We
most
should
people have
never.
limits. They, oh, the sky's the limit, but you're going
No,
above and
we
beyond.
go beyond the sky
Ah,
because there's no
interesting.
limit within us unless we are the limit ourselves.
Right, right.
So we try real hard. The students that we work with, we try really hard
Mm.
to help them become motivators of others as well. So the idea is if you have a struggling student, we want that student to then become a motivator. So once
Okay.
the light bulb goes off for them, they become a lifelong learner and a lover of learning. So
Okay.
for us, and honest to God, our market is inner city urban kids. And the reason for that is obvious. You look at the scores in Connecticut and New Haven and Charlotte and North Carolina and Charleston and South Carolina and Phoenix and Arizona and here in Boston and Massachusetts. You'll see the same thing across the board. We are struggling. We are really struggling. And the thing that gets me the most is that our A students, our cream of the crop students, are still dropping out of school, out of college.
Yeah.
They go to college because they get these
The
grades.
percentage goes up almost every year or so.
Sure. But our quality points are low, and our ability to stay in school beyond the first semester is even sad. It's really sad. So what that tells us is that our systems, and I will not say our teachers, but our systems are pushing kids through. And they're just if they don't cause trouble, if they don't smart mouth a teacher, they're going to graduate. But can they read? That's the question on
I've
the
heard
table.
so many stories about kids graduating from college without knowing how to read or write. And that's sad. It's like, how do they get that far if they can't read? That's the basic fundamental. That's the first thing they teach you in school, how to read, how to write. Well, my uncle used to say the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. But
Arithmetic.
yeah, arithmetic. Yeah, I'm from the
Arithmetic.
old school.
Right.
I wish PMOSH was around when I was going to school because I was born with dyslexia. I couldn't read. I saw things backwards, and I was just, But how do you compare that to some of the other programs that are invested in some of these school systems? I understand that PMOSH is the cutting edge in technology of education, but it seems like that's probably the only program that's. All these other programs seems to follow by the wayside for some reason.
Well,
These kids are not learning. It seems like you're probably the savior when it comes to the methodical way of teaching the kids what they're supposed to learn in school. But some of these other programs out here, from what I understand, it's like I said, more and more kids are dropping out every year.
Yeah.
So obviously, I don't think there's anything set in place. Either that or something's wrong with the curriculum or the people that's behind it, the people that run the organizations.
Well, one of the keywords in the PMOSH acronym is motivate.
Yes,
And
yes.
if a child is not motivated, a parent can't even get them out of bed.
And the teachers aren't motivated either.
Well,
I
for
mean,
good
it
reason.
takes- yeah.
For good reason. Our teachers are strapped. There's a couple of things going on with that. You have students that are straight up parentified.
Yeah.
So they're raising their younger brothers and sisters, and so they see their teachers as peers. For the first time in any generation, a lot of parents are trying to be friends with their children.
I know. Teachers
So-
too. Teachers too.
Well, I can understand why a teacher would take that approach because there's so
They're
many
more important.
students.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's
they
true.
have to
Yeah.
find a way
Yeah,
to
to a
navigate
point.
through their whole class and get some learning done.
Right.
It's hard to do. It's difficult. So the last thing I would do is bash a teacher. I think if you're a teacher, you're going to heaven.
All teachers
if you're a
should get-
teacher, all teachers go to heaven. Maybe that'll be our next movie.
There you go.
Because
I like
all
that.
teachers
I
are
like that.
not in this field for money.
No.
They're just not.
But I've
So
heard a
let's
lot
make
of them
that
on the
clear.
news, of course, complaining about their salaries. They're not like they used to be. They always complain, "Oh, I don't make enough money for this. I don't." And I'm thinking, I hear a good percentage of that.
Well, that's for good reason as
Yeah,
well. I
of
mean, you
course.
have administrators who sit in a room and basically talk.
Yeah.
They meet, they go to meetings and they
Right,
sign
right.
things and they talk. And a lot of school systems are administrative heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And if we eliminated some of those bodies and sort of, and I'm not bashing administrations because they're all different. And I
Right,
don't
okay.
know everything there is to know about the inner workings. But I do know that teachers need more support.
Yes,
they do
they
need
definitely
better
need that.
salaries.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
weird how a lawyer can make $200,000-$300,000 a year, but they could not have been a lawyer without a teacher.
The black
A
hole.
basketball player can make $1 million,
Yeah,
$10 million,
I know. Yeah.
$30 million,
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see.
and they
Oh.
could not have gotten there without a teacher. And so to
Yeah.
say that teachers don't need a decent salary is just not fair. And I understand
right.
that. And this is not necessarily about teachers, but I will say that we have had a lot of success with the teachers who care more than the ones who waive their union book. And so because teachers, many of them are unionized, they subscribe to a school of thought that they're here for this amount of hours to work with students who will participate and pay attention and show up. If you don't show up, if you don't participate, if you don't have respect for the people who are teaching you, chances are you won't do well in school. And some of that is a parenting issue. And so I think PMOSH is successful because we build in parents from the very beginning.
Okay.
We make them accountable. And sometimes school systems need us to help with that. And sometimes we go in and that's the first thing we do. Come up with a way to build in their parent and family involvement, which is a Title I, Century 21 urban schools issue. And so a lot of our parents don't show up until it's time to fight. They don't come to school, assemblies too much. They don't show up to the games too much. But more and more parents are getting involved. And I know that in the states
important.
where we operate, we do a lot to make sure that our parents are right there for their students, and that makes all the difference in the world. So if you're a parent and you have students from K through 12 and they're involved in anything, show up, and they will show out for you. I've never seen a child not raise to the occasion, but you asked a question, a specific one, and I don't know that I answered it. So I'm going to attempt. You asked about the existing programs and how PMOSH is different. Well, I believe that, first of all, PMOSH did not create any wheels. Nothing that we do is innovative except how we do it.
Okay.
So our philosophy is different, but we didn't create tutorial. We didn't create mentoring. We didn't create arts. We didn't create education. We didn't create technology. And we didn't create the school environment or the learning environment for that matter. All of those things were already working, but they weren't working for our kids. They
So
weren't
all you did
working.
was come up with a method.
We came up with a method and a philosophy of how we work with children. So for one, we don't do group tutorial. It doesn't work.
Okay.
That's really, to me, it's more homework central.
Okay.
So you can get some homework done in a group environment, but you can't be tutored in a group environment. Our tutors are all one-to-one. All one-to-one.
That does make a
and
difference.
yes, it makes a huge difference because now we focus on the specific child. We're not focusing on third grade
Okay.
or fourth grade or 10th grade. Because each student has a different strength.
That's right.
And they have different
That's good to
weaknesses.
yeah.
They have different supports. They have different
Everything
challenges.
is done on grade levels. Oh, you're first grade. Oh, you're second grade. Oh, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And sometimes even the computers fail us. There are lots of programs where students walk into a building and they sit at a computer and the computer is one-to-one, right?
Yeah,
It
that's
is
true.
one-to-one, but not really because it's a computer. And so it's running numbers based on every third grader or every 10th grader or standardized testing, which is still a good idea, but not so much if a child is struggling in school. That's a good idea for mainstream students
Right,
who
right.
seem to be doing well.
Right.
But when you have a struggling student, that student needs one-on-one, hands-on attention that's about them and about what's going on in their lives specifically. We don't sometimes care about what young people are going through. So our tutors are trained.
Seems like everybody's an instant gratification. Okay, you passed. Okay, oh, I got problems. They don't focus. They're too stressed. I see a lot of teachers and students are both stressed out. And you can't have that in environment.
Right.
And
And parents as well.
Yeah.
They need supports as well. Parents that have students that go to a Title I school, those parents are already struggling. Title I
Yes,
school
they are.
means that the neighborhood or the student population is 70% receiving food stamps or supplemental income for their families.
Right.
So that means almost every student in the school gets free or reduced lunch. That's how you can identify whether whether your children are in a Title I school. So for those of you who weren't sure, that's how you can tell. And in those schools, there should be supplemental education for students who have IEPs or students who are learning disabled and special needs. Those students all should be receiving some kind of supplemental education. And students that are in foster care, the federal government mandates that students that are in foster care are either on grade level or there should be some supplemental education plan in place. And that's where PMOSH has found a great niche with that Department of Children and Families or Department of Social Services for those students that are in foster care.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. But join us for our second half for more the PMOSH presentation. This is a 12-week series. So for those of you who are just tuning in, you're watching Community Update. And for more information, you can go to our website at thebeantv.com. That's thebeantv.com. For more information, we'll see you again in the next half. Welcome back to the second half of Community Update, the show that brings you above and beyond the scope. I'm Andre Evans. We're here again with the PMOSH presentation. And we're here with Patrina Reddick and Denasia, who's also a student with PMOSH. And she's going to tell you her experiences in PMOSH and so on. We'll start with you.
My experience at PMOSH was actually pretty good. We do a lot of stuff with art, and we do a lot of academic stuff, and we make songs that will actually
what kind of songs you guys make?
We make money songs,
Okay.
and then teach kids how to count their ABCs and stuff like that, and it actually makes it fun for people to learn.
Okay, that sounds fun. We didn't have that when I was going to school. I'm jealous. So what other things you guys do?
Yeah, we get on the stage and we sing, and then on Thursdays we have these showcases where we could show people what our talent is.
Okay.
And there's people that are singing and dancing
Oh,
all the creative stuff, and we show artwork there.
Okay. You got anything special coming up? Any special events or anything?
The showcase.
Okay.
Thursday. Yeah, we do it every Thursday.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah,
What is your
PMOSH is
take on it?
pretty exciting place. A lot of moving parts, but they all work together. And we started PMOSH tutorial and mentoring in 2003. But in 2006, we were blessed to expand our program into the arts, education, and technology space. So once we added the arts, that's when we started doing the educational music. And we're building our YouTube channel as we speak.
Oh, wow.
And we need 1,000 subscribers. So make sure you go to Crunch Bunch Kids and subscribe. And that way you can listen to all the Crunch Bunch songs absolutely free on YouTube. But in addition, Crunch Bunch songs are available through the Free Public Library across the country. So I'm sure Boston is a part of that
I'm sure
already.
That up. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so if we're not in your library, request us. It's Crunch Bunch, and we have Love in My Numbers, Love in Language Arts, Love in My History, Love in My Colors, Love in My Animals, Sweating with Crunch Bunch, which is an exercise deal.
Wow.
And this summer, we're working on wealth and legacy. So they're doing songs on money and how to count. So we've been drilling our little ones on their nickels, on pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters.
Okay.
And they need to know all the faces on the dollar bills. And I mean, the back of their hand.
Wow.
So that's pretty much what we've been focusing on last week. So this week here, the younger ones will, by proxy, a signature of PMOSH is that all of our students learn their alphabet backwards. So
Wow.
that's important. So
Very
this week we're
interesting.
drilling the students on their alphabet backwards.
For those of you who are just joining us, you're watching Community Update, a special edition, and we're talking about PMOSH, which is people involved in motivating our students higher. And I also understand you just merged with Urban Academics.
Urban Academics is a big deal.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
Well,
For those that don't know.
Urban Academics has been in the works for the past 2 years silently. as
Okay.
we begin to expand.
Okay.
So the plan is in September to relaunch all 5 programs, including Boston. So right now we operate in Charlotte, North Carolina, and in New Haven, Connecticut. So in September we will relaunch those 2 programs, and addition add Boston, Phoenix, Arizona, and Charleston, South Carolina. So these are exciting times for us. And so I'm glad that you have us on so we can share with
Oh,
others.
of course. Yeah.
The goal for January 2020 is to expand into Chicago, Illinois, New York City,
Tough.
Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, California, and I'm not sure which town in Texas, but those were strategic based on the numbers of students who actually need help overall. Those had the biggest numbers of students who are just not functioning in the current environment. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, the combination of my clinical experience as a clinical therapist, I'm a master's level social worker, and I'm also a product of the New Haven public school system. And I've managed to work with a lot of different educators over the years who has mentored me, who helped me move along, you know, and to come from Church Street South Projects, across from the train station over there in New Haven, I believe I slipped through the cracks. For example, a lot of the ones who, they say, you know, if you come from the right side of the tracks, if you slip through the cracks, you're the black sheep or whatever.
Yeah, right,
On the flip
right.
side of that, there were only a few of us who went to college, definitely a few of us with master's degrees, and even fewer with a PhD. So I stand proud, but I stand on the shoulders of all my teachers, administrators, and those that pulled me. They saw me over there and they said, come this way. Separate yourself from that crowd or you're going to get in trouble. Come this way.
Okay.
They chose me for a program at Yale University, so I was able to go to Yale as a junior and a senior.
Wow.
So I've interfaced with all kinds of doctors and professionals who they helped. And so that's what I choose to be to these young people.
You're giving back.
I
Wow.
certainly try.
Admirable. Wow.
I certainly try.
And what are some of the getting into the implement? Now, we all know Massachusetts has the best educational facility, for lack of a better term, because of course, you know, Connecticut has Yale, Princeton's in New Jersey, but we have Harvard, we have MIT, we have some of the best, Emerson College, we have some of the best schools here. Now, my question, it's kind of obvious. You obviously got to jump through a lot of hoops to implement it in Greater Boston, like Brookline, Cambridge, those type of places. Do you have any specific plans as to what steps are being taken to implement in the Greater Boston?
There is a Title I schools coordinator in all of those areas. So
Okay.
that's your first door. You don't want to go over that person. You want that
Right.
person to usher you in.
Okay.
So when you connect with that person, you've connected to the door. But
Okay.
there are also state of Massachusetts and federal contacts as
Yes,
well.
yes.
So I generally will go through the federal location to get the contact information for the state, who will then
Okay.
introduce me to the local,
Okay.
which always works better.
Mm.
So it's a little politic
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah,
involved,
definitely,
but
definitely.
not really, because we speak the same language and they know where I'm coming from based on past experience and current programming. There are a lot of programs that exist. There are a lot of programs with a lot of students, but many of them don't have a clue how to operationalize what their plan is. We've been doing it for years and we're just getting started.
I like that. That's really good. Very impressive. So the goal obviously is you want to go global, I'm assuming.
Well, national first. So we
National
want to
first.
make sure that the
'Cause
inner
something like
city.
this is needed everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
I would think.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But we do want to concentrate on Title I schools. They already have the funding for these programs, and for some reason they're not meeting the needs of our students. Not saying that the system is broken, but maybe they just need us to come in to assist, and so that's what we do.
Okay.
We come in. Sometimes we're brought into just a specific school.
Okay.
For example, in North Carolina, I was brought into one specific school, Cool, it's STEM
Okay.
Academy. So I worked with some of those students over there. We worked on a family and parent engagement plan,
Okay.
which is also needed if we're going to increase grade point averages for our students. It has to be a collaborative effort between
definitely.
the administrators, teachers, parents, and PMOSH.
Okay.
And you can speak a little bit to what you think some of the schools need. What are you seeing in your classrooms that could be done different? And so we need to take our direction from you guys.
I think some things that could be done different is like we should add more stuff that kids are interested in into what we're learning so that it actually sticks instead of drilling it into their head, because I feel like schools are more focused on remembering than learning something out
Are
of
you gonna be a
That
teacher? You're gonna be a teacher. I know it. I know it. You're gonna be a teacher.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. But I have a question for both of you. What is your take on today, as far as kids, feeling they have to go on that line to get the education? You know how you see these commercials, or you can get your GED online and you get a college degree. How do you feel about that? And what's the difference between PMOSH and taking a shortcut? When you're kids, they tell you there's no shortcuts in getting an education, but I think there is. And when it came up with that concept, how do you feel about kids getting an education online? In your opinion, do you think it would work? Do you think it's something that's
I think it's something that's possible, but I think that taking shortcuts won't really get you through life the way you want to be.
And what do you think about online school as opposed to getting up every morning, getting
the
dressed,
traditional way of going to school?
going to school?
You
They're
sit in
doing
the classroom.
online schools now. How
I
do you feel
think
about
there's
that?
there's a lot of things that you might miss out on, like the environment of being in school and like being in front of a teacher and stuff. But I think it's pretty much just like I think you would learn more in school.
Okay. Considering the answers are right there in front of you, because anybody can just look up Google and say what's 2 and 2, or if you're
Yeah,
doing
and you like could raise your hand and ask the teacher
Yeah.
right there instead of having to
in other words,
wait
it's
for a
involved. It's
response.
more involved, involved in motivating our students higher.
We
Pretty
are all
much.
PMOSH.
Yeah.
So that's a good thought, because we are all PMOSH. If you're working with
Right.
children in any capacity, you are PMOSH. You are a person
Right.
involved in motivating our students higher, we would hope. Otherwise, to be motivated by money is not a good thing. It's not a good
Yeah.
fit for academics.
Right,
It's just
right.
not. It's not. It will never work. But just to piggyback on what she was saying about the online schools, I have mixed feelings about it. Part of me, because I am such a tech person on one level, on a couple levels, I think it's a great opportunity. Even PMOSH is working on an environment online. And I sometimes...
But it's different, though.
It is absolutely different. Like some of the schools that are online allow you to do your own work. And then if you need help, you press a button, and then, it's not really a teacher there. It's just a computer.
Right.
And some of the traditional tutorial services are the same way. You walk into their building, you sit at a computer, and that's basically the framework. In my mind, I feel like our children are already struggling socially.
Yeah.
And so social
Definitely.
networking and social media has made that even worse.
Yes.
So for a group of young people who have, what's a word I want to use without offending anyone? For lack of a better term, for students who struggle to be social savvy, I'll say that, it is difficult to think they can do the social media, texting all day. They're losing their vocals. They don't talk to their parents. They're texting their parents right in the same house.
I know.
I mean, it's out of control.
Yeah, it
So
definitely is, yes.
I think school is a way to continue some kind of structure. So if you actually get up in the morning at a certain time, you bathe, you brush, you put your clothes on, you comb your hair, you eat a little something, and you're out the door. That does provide some kind of structure.
Right.
So that when it's time to go to work, that continues. So we have some kind of discipline.
Get up. You gotta be late for school.
Right.
Don't forget your lunch.
Right. And so these
Old
online schools,
Yeah.
they say you have it's flexible.
Yes.
So I don't
okay.
know what that means. I don't know what that means. So you don't have to get up in the morning. You can sleep till 12 and then go to school at 12 or 1 or 3.
Believe it or not, kids gotten used to that. A lot of them, they're just like, they want to stay in bed. They get used to that laziness, I guess, or lack of a better term, you know, because they don't want, because most kids don't really like going to school. They don't, oh, I got to go to school. I don't want it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's going to take a while to get them used to getting back in the traditional way of going to school,
I
getting
don't know.
education. It's going to take a while.
Traditional
I'm
schools
talking
may
about
be out the
today's
window.
kids. Yeah.
They may be out the window. We have charter schools and we have magnet schools, and we don't know the difference, many of us. You know what I mean? And we don't know what our options are totally. And I think in the way of support for parents who have struggling students, I would just suggest that you ask as many questions as you have.
Right.
If you have a question, please ask it. If you don't feel like you get the right answer, go to next. Get your answer. Go up the chain of command.
Right.
It's there. All those administrators are there for a reason. So go up the chain of command and get your questions answered. Write them down so you remember them. I forget all the time. So I try to write things down.
Okay.
You know, so that we can remember and use your calendar. We all have these phones.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a
Of
calendar
course.
in there. Use it.
Unfortunately, we're out of time again, but we'll be back for the third half. See you again. Welcome back to the third half of Community Update. I'm actually here with the students from PMOSH, and they're going to share their experiences with you. Got May Rose, Denisha, and Nazia, right? Guys, speak up. What do you...
Oh,
what do-
hi. Hi. What's up?
How do you feel about PMOSH? I mean, your experiences, just, you know, tell us your experiences about PMOSH.
I think it's wonderful. The first time when I came, I was very nervous, and then
Okay.
all of a sudden I opened up because it's something I really love.
Okay.
And it's something I really wanted to practice for so many years. And I remember when I wanted to get in certain programs, I was too young.
Okay.
So now I'm glad that I get to be in PMOSH and practice my arts.
Ah, you're going to be an artist. Do you know what you're going to be when you grow up?
Singing.
Ah, it runs in the family.
Yeah.
And you, what is your experience? What do you like most about PMOSH yourself?
They teach you stuff,
Mm.
and kids should learn more
Uh-huh.
and stuff.
Okay. Do you know what PMOSH stands for? Can you say it?
It's people involved more than our kids higher.
Students higher.
Oh, students higher.
You're almost there. You almost got it. He's going to get it.
God.
Oh, I forgot too.
What I like most about PMOSH is that it, honestly for me, I could say that it exposed me to what I wanted to be exposed to, because so long I've been trying to get my singing and stuff and like getting rid of my stage fright, and PMOSH really helps that because we have our showcases and she knows all the right people to talk to, and I wasn't really connected to what I needed to.
How does PMOSH help you get over stage fright? Because that's
Because
something
you
drama
actually,
teachers actually do
like-
that. They try to teach how to act, how to overcome that.
Because being on the stage, you kind of get used to being on a stage because that's what you're going to be doing at like events and stuff.
Yep.
So once you like get used to the presence of being on stage and people actually watching you, you kind of your stage fright kind of melts away because you
That's
know you're
interesting.
going to do it and like it's going to be good.
That's interesting. Interesting. Do you have anything else you want to add?
They're very helpful for a lot of things. We both write,
Okay.
and I would say it helps a lot, you know, because in the beginning I don't know how to explain it, but you like you do certain things when you write your first song, then it kind of I don't know how to explain it.
Like it flows.
Yeah, it flows, and then you know, every time you write a song, it gets easier and easier. We already wrote like 3 songs in 1 week.
Wow.
We're
we
actually
went to the
working
studio.
on a song about nickels.
Okay.
Yeah, it like teaches kids like that like what's on the nickel, and like it teaches how much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like if you
Wow.
have 2 of them, how
Okay.
much is that?
Okay.
And we wrote 2 songs together because we're like together, we're like R&B and pops, and
Okay.
you know, it had to be about money.
Uh-huh.
So we did 2 parody songs from the one group called SWV.
Oh
and
yeah,
we
I
did
remember them. Yeah.
and we did Weak and Right Here
Oh,
slash
wow.
Human Nature, and we changed the
Mm.
song. It's real good. I liked it.
Yeah, I like how
SWV.
we're exposed to the studio and stuff, and we get used to how that works and stuff.
Hmm. Wow. So sounds like PMOsh has done an awful lot for you guys.
Yes.
So I know you would on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate PMOsh? Well, get it to your friends.
A
10,
20.
10.
10,
I never heard that one before.
11, he's 7.
10. Okay. All right.
They're wonderful. I'm really
Right.
blessed.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I wish PMOsh was around when I was y'all's age. I mean, wow. So it sounds like it has a tremendous impact on you. And how well do you think it would do here in Boston? Say Greater Boston, because we're trying to implement PMOsh to become the school systems here in Greater Boston. I should say Greater Boston.
I think it'll do just as good as it's doing in New Haven.
Okay.
It's an awesome program, and yeah.
Okay. You believe the same thing?
Yeah, I believe that it will help kids express themselves a lot more because you can express yourself through music and
Right.
theater and dancing and stuff like that, and
Okay.
kids can't express themselves during in a textbook. You know, it's like that. Yeah.
Very interesting. What about you? What do you think? You got your own mind, right?
Just like I would just flow with them.
Well, how would you rate PMOsh? Would you say number 10, right? Okay. And you recommend it to other kids and all your friends? Okay. How well do you think it would do in Greater Boston? Just in your own opinion.
Good.
Okay. Just good?
I mean,
Okay. PMOsh, people involved in motivating our students higher. You guys are watching a very special presentation. Again, feel free to log on to our website for more information. That's thebeantv.com. Thebeantv.com. So, you guys got any shout outs? You want to say hello to your friends?
Hi, mommy.
Hi.
Hi.
Friends in school,
Hey,
in
Mom.
summer
Hi,
school, whatever.
Nye. Hi, people.
hello.
Hey, fam.
Are you guys
Oh, we
gonna
have-
do
yeah, we have
a
the same
jingle?
family.
I heard you guys got a jingle, PMOsh jingle. Just do like a little bit. Just
It goes like this.
yeah, I want to hear
Probably gonna
this.
do it.
It goes, PMOsh. People involved in motivating our students higher.
Oh, she was like,
PMOsh.
yeah.
People involved in motivating our students higher. PMOsh.
Say it loud. Be
PMOsh.
proud.
PMOsh.
The P is for proud. Oh my God, you guys are something else. But I wish you the best of luck. Hope you guys get good grades, which I know you are.
Yeah.
And oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Let's hear about it. How did you do it? Yeah. Okay. Okay? Let me ask you all a question. All of you. What advice would you give to other kids who are struggling?
If you're,
Other than just say, okay, sign up for PMOsh, but what kind of advice would you give just from your experiences
keep
and how the struggle, how you can alleviate the struggle from kids who are struggling with academics in school? What would your advice be to them?
do you want to go first?
Okay. I think my advice for someone who's struggling is a lot of practice and try to fit it into your free time and never be afraid to ask for help.
Ah,
I would say just keep working hard, because if you really want it, you would take your time. Even though if you're tired, you would take your time to practice that art and that gift if you really, really want it. I would say.
what about you? Not even a simple.
I was gonna say, work hard
Yeah.
and don't. Well, if you give up, just try again.
Ah, interesting. In other words, never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up. It's very important. You know, you want to learn. When I was younger, I was born with dyslexia, as I mentioned earlier, but I didn't give up. I kept going, and I actually took a class in college and went to Emerson, and I studied broadcast media. But I didn't have PMOsh though. But the thing is, anybody can learn if they really want to. You just have to. You need some guidance. That's what PMOsh. From what I understand, what I've learned, that PMOsh gives people a lot of guidance. directs you on which way to go and how to get there. It doesn't just say, okay, you're just going to pass this class. It takes its time. It's a process, because growth is a process. And I think that's what PMOSH, from, again, what I've learned, that it helps kids grow, not just growth in, physically, but mentally as well. And I wish you guys the best of luck in school.
Thank
Hope
you.
you manage to stay in school and don't ever give up, no matter how hard the tests get, whatever the challenges, try to overcome them, but don't ever give up. Stay focused. And again, we're at the end of the show, but we'll see you in the next half of the show. I want to thank the guests for being on, May Rose, Nazier, and Denasia being on the show. And we hope to see you again next week.
Hey, Mom.
Thank you for having
All
us.
right.
Hi, Father.
Welcome back to a very special edition of Community Update. You've been watching, for those of you who are just tuning in, we were talking about PMOSH, and that's the cutting edge in technology for education. And we have Patrina Reddick, who came back to be with us today. Also, we have Malaya, how you say your name? Miley, I'm sorry, and Ari. So I want to talk to you guys about your experiences with PMOSH. How do you enjoy going to school and working with PMOSH?
Yes.
Okay, and what is the most important? What is the most fun thing you like about PMOSH? What do you get out of it?
When we do like our showcase
Mm-hmm.
and when we take pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. What about you? What do you enjoy most about
Well,
working with PMOSH?
I enjoyed how we did a lot of activities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, we did acting,
Okay.
cheerleading, dancing, and we did learn, except it didn't feel like learning because it was like really fun.
Mm-hmm. You guys do a lot of entertainment stuff.
Yeah.
I noticed that. Music, dance. Wow. Interesting. Now I understand why you said entertainment, because I read the category and I was like, why is educational should be just education? But you say entertainment. Now I see why. I saw that. So I need to know more about PMOSH and engagement with urban academics. And how does that all come into play? I know you said it was part of the Title Ones, but how does that all come together? How did you even put all something like this together?
Well, it sort of morphed into a life of its own. I don't know if we can honestly say that we planned all these strategic moves out. I think they sort of found us over time. For example, we'd be in a certain area doing a certain thing, and a certain person would notice what we do, ask us what we do, and show us something else that we could do. And when they talk about education and entertainment, we call it edutainment, because yes, they're learning, but they're
Edutainment.
creating
I like that. Yeah.
tools for that students can really use. So when you think about the songs that Ari participated in, that was the Love in My History piece. So if you find one of those videos on Love in My History, there's several out there, you'll see a young Ari in those videos. This one, I think she's on Love in My Colors, maybe, and now going to be on The Wealth and Legacy. She's been recording for years already.
Wow.
And only 8 years old. So her first time in the studio was probably 4 or 5.
Okay.
And so I will speak to some of those students that we've worked with that quote unquote made it. So the most popular student that we have so far is Sir Avery Wilson, who was on Team CeeLo of the Voice. I think that was in 2014. And then he shortly thereafter got a deal with Clive Davis and is now a national recording artist. So that young boy features on Love and Language Arts and Love and My Numbers. So before he was singing for Clive Davis and these guys R&B, he was actually singing to make learning simple and fun for children. So he has a song on interjections, and he has a song on illiteracy, and he has, you know how kids do, you so ugly, you so black, you so fat. Well, we switched all that, and it's you so smart. And so he's on that segment as well, and a couple more songs, one that he did called Under the Sea, and another called Sunrise, about how animals take care of their children, and how the children know the love of their parents by watching the animals. So we're doing some videos to those songs this summer. And those songs were recorded some time ago, but we didn't know enough to create videos to them, and that's why I'm asking for you to go and subscribe to Crunch Bunch Kids. We need 1,000 subscribers, and believe me when I tell you, these songs are evergreen. They're all educational. They will never go out of style. Every generation is just as excited about them as the first. And so both of these two have been a part of that.
Wow.
And Ari's from Boston.
Okay. Whoa. All right. Boston, hometown. All right. What part of Boston?
Massachusetts. Oh wait, what?
What part of Boston? Dorchester?
Yeah, Hyde
Rochester?
Park.
Oh, okay. All right. Got some people in Hyde Park. So, again, PMARSH has had a huge impact on a lot of you children. That's good. I mean, what advice, I got to ask you now, what advice would you give to a student that's struggling in school?
I would say try to find a style or learning technique that works best for you,
Okay.
and also find, if you get extra help, don't be scared to ask for help, or when you do ask for help, try to go to a teacher that you feel comfortable with,
Right.
because then it just makes it a lot easier, because then if you don't feel comfortable with someone, it's harder for you to learn. And you kind of have to do some stuff on your own. I know you don't want to, also during summer, because that's when you forget a lot of the stuff that you learned in the previous year. So then when you go back into the next grade, you kind of have to know that stuff to learn the new stuff. So if you work on stuff during the summer, which you can find fun ways like we do at PMARSH, if you find ways that are interesting, it does not feel like learning or so then you're more likely to also remember stuff.
Interesting. What about you? What would you say to other kids who are struggling and have a hard time in school? Besides telling them to go with PMARSH, I mean, what kind of advice would you?
No.
It's okay. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I can't stress enough the importance of PMARSH, and I really wish you guys the best of luck. And on behalf of my staff, I will do the best I can to try to make sure you get implemented in Greater Boston, because that is something, as I keep saying, the cutting edge of technology for education. And there's no other program, as far as I'm concerned, there's no other program like it. I mean, you remember the Bush administration, where he told everybody, oh, no child should be left behind. But unfortunately, a lot of kids slip through the cracks. And it's happening more, and it's on the uprise. And I think from what I'm hearing and from what I've read, you guys are top notch as far as the cutting edge. You're advanced at an advanced stage where you're not doing what everybody else is doing.
Right.
And I really would like to see, if I was a millionaire, I would put up the money to get you guys on that level to be implemented here in Greater Boston, because I really think what you're doing is not just teaching kids, but it's about educating them to get them to the next level, to help enhance their GPAs. And I really hope and pray that you guys really get established, do whatever it is you got to do to get established here, because we need you. We really do. School systems, parents out there that are watching, all you kids and principals and deans and professors, you need to check out PMARSH. And again, if you have any information you're acquiring, log on to our website. That's thebeantv.com. Again, that's thebeantv.com. Anything else you would like to add? Anything else people should know?
Just that, we're here for the sole purpose of making sure urban inner city children can read with the best of them, rock with the best of them in college, and go on to be productive members of society that give back.
Yes.
Because it's no good to take everything and never give back. The other piece of advice I would give to children and parents, don't make everything about money. Just please do not allow your motivating factor around anything that you do to be based on money. Money will find its way to you if you find a purpose. So it'll somehow find its way. So just the mere fact that you said, if I were a millionaire, I would fund
would.
you. I would.
I sure would.
Then we're already funded.
Because I'm about giving back anyway, because that's what the show's about.
Right.
You know, but I guess another question I have to ask for concerned parents, you know, speaking of money, now, how much would something like this cost for parents to take their kids to come to this particular program?
Well, it depends on which program you get involved in.
Okay.
If you're in tutorial and mentoring,
Yeah.
then that's not as expensive as an arts education institute,
Okay.
which goes for weeks over the summer. So, for example, in Charlotte and in New Haven, and New Haven's program is 6 weeks. In
Okay.
Charlotte's program, you got 2 going 5 weeks.
Okay.
So that would be a little bit more expensive, but we're
Okay.
still very far below what our programs are worth.
Mm.
We do so much with children. We do photo shoots. We do Dirty Tuesday, where they just get
Okay.
dirty
Okay.
creating art.
Mm.
Wednesday, we call it Wet and Wild. So we go swimming every Wednesday, and sometimes that's to the beach.
Okay.
And then on Thursdays, we showcase. So this year, for the first time, we've involved family day parties, because we build families into what we do. How do we get them there? One, we have ice cream and it's free. Everybody comes out for the ice cream. But the other piece of it is children get awards based on family participation. And so the motivation comes from the children. They want their families there because they want the award. And so what we learned from that is that we can't do anything with parents without these babies, and we can't do anything with these babies without these parents. And so that's been a staple for years. And just like if you found a young person who can say their alphabet backwards, she can do it, then you know they've been a part of PMOSH.
Okay.
So why don't you share that?
Yeah, definitely.
And action.
ZYXWVUT SRQPONM LKJIHGFEDCBA. Hey.
Hey.
All right.
And that's pretty
I hope
much
you
a
kids are
signature.
paying attention.
That's pretty much a signature. A lot of
Oh
our
my
children
goodness.
know their
Oh
alphabet
my
backwards.
God. Wow. That is very impressive.
That helps with alphabetical order.
It does,
If
of course it
starts down
does.
and it also helps with air traffic control.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, if you ever wanted to be an air traffic controller, you have to know all the letters and the numbers
Mm-hmm, That's true.
associated with your alphabet, and so that will
That's true.
definitely help you.
Yeah. Do you know what you want to be when you grow up?
I think I want to be a biochemical engineer.
Ooh. Got to know math.
Yes,
Definitely got to know math.
She's a genius, no doubt.
Wow.
And an award-winning dancer.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. You got plenty of time. You know, just stay in school. Don't ever give up. Both you guys, stay in school. Don't ever give up. You come across any challenges, that's what PMOSH is there to help you get through those challenges. It's a guidance. So don't ever give up. Always, you know, like you said, stay focused, and if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. You know what I mean? So, but we're out of time again. But I thank you for watching. For those of you who tuned in, this is a special community update, the show that brings you above and beyond the scope. And we were talking with the kids, you know, students of PMOSH, and of course Miss Patrina Reddick, the founder and creator of PMOSH, which is people involved in motivating our students higher. So again, log on to our website at thebeantv.com if you have any questions. Again, that's thebeantv.com. We'll see you again next week. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter.